Hi, testing, testing. Can everybody hear us and see us? All right, let us know if you can't hear us.
On Cameron's computer where the record is. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Oh, there's the tweet.
There it is.
In general, we're talking a bit loud out here, right?
Yeah, we do. And it's got a nice range on it, so it'll be good. Good evening, everybody. We're just going to give a few more minutes before we start, but thank you for joining us. So people will be tweeting as they go up there and they'll ask questions and stuff like that, so we can respond. There's the list of folks we've got all over the country. As we get ready, can everybody hear us and see us all right out there? If you wouldn't mind just giving us a quick check, we want to make sure that we're on without any technical difficulties this time around. Thanks, Cliff. Thanks, Kimberly. Thanks, Sky. Great. Thank you, Kovas. My office is still unlocked. There's all the Borra this.
We have the 85% Kerner is all gone, yes. But this one here is a lot of Kerner in it, so we should be good. More Kerner to come.
I think Kimberly already has her eye on something from Borra.
Good.
Thanks, Kim, for letting us know. All right. Well, it's 5 o'clock, and it's about time for us to dive into some of these fantastic summer white wines from Lodi. Thank you all for joining us this evening. My name is Camron King. I'm the Executive Director here at the Lodi Winegrape Commission. And with me tonight we have Markus Niggli, who's one of our rock star winemakers here in Lodi. And you know, we're very excited to have you join us. This is a fun way for us to take a little bit of a break. I know Markus was in the vineyard earlier today. Some of our growers around the region have started picking. Harvest is a little bit early this year, but that doesn't mean that there's not some great things to come. In fact, we've got some wonderful, wonderful wines coming out of our vineyards again for the 2013 vintage. But you know, here in Lodi, we're often known for Zinfandel and for some of our reds, and so we really wanted to take this chance and this opportunity to show you some of the diversity of our region and have some fun summer whites. It's a little bit warmer here right now in Lodi. I think we're probably at about 90 degrees this afternoon, and it'll cool down once the breezes, which have started to blow, will cool us down into the 60s tonight, the high 50s or 60s. So it's perfect weather for growing some whites. So before we get too far into the wines and telling you a little bit about us, I wanted to give Markus a chance to introduce himself a little bit. So.
Yes, good evening, everybody. Hello, I'm Markus, and I have an accent. I'm Swiss, and if you don't understand, please let us know. I'm very pleased and honored to be here tonight. Thank you for the opportunity. I hope to share with you a few points of winemaking, also thoughts behind how we make wine, why we make certain things, why we put it in certain packages, etc. So it might help you out a little understanding if you don't see the reason why we do it this way or that way. I had a ticket in my hand last night from Zurich, and I had a ticket for Lodi, and I had to make the decision where to go. And I chose Lodi because now it's the time to pick some almost ripe grapes. We'll pick next week. That will be ripe and ready to go. The German varieties are coming in. So I'm looking forward to some action next week.
Sure, that's great. Well, bummer for Zurich that you're not going to be visiting there, but I'm sure there will be a chance to get there.
Yeah, I got a rain check from my wife, so okay, I can go back in November.
Good.
Not
Good.
The best time, but it will be okay.
Hey, you know, Zurich anytime is a nice place to be.
I totally agree.
So, but how did you end up here in Lodi? I mean, obviously, you know, a gentleman from Switzerland on a journey to Lodi. That's a little bit of a different story. How did you end up here and making wine?
Yeah, it's interesting. I have a degree in tourism, okay, so I was traveling the world quite a bit, and I ended up being a lot on my way to the United States for American Airlines, and I entered the States about 180 times in 5 years.
Wow.
So constantly back here, constantly introduced back to wine, tasting wine, drinking wine, and I took a lot of wine home. And deep inside here, I said, you know what? When I'm 30 years old, I quit. And I did. I sent my resignation out on my 30th birthday, and I flew to Perth, Australia, Western Australia, studied viticulture, grape growing. Okay. And then after that, I went to Santa Rosa, worked in the Napa Valley for a season or two, and then had the opportunity to come over here. 6 years ago, Lodi was a different ball game. It was just starting. It was like, wow, okay, really? But I saw the chance, the opportunity to do something different here, and I took it. I took the risk, and I'm turning 40 this week now, so wow, it's 10 years later, and I think we have come a long ways.
Absolutely. Well, this is a fun way to celebrate your birthday.
That's right. See, here we go.
Yeah, no, it's fun to hear that, because I think you're absolutely right. Lodi has really seen a lot of growth and development in the last 10 years, and even more so in the last 6 to 8 years. For folks who may not know, I mean, Lodi has been growing grapes for the better part of 150 years, and we've been well known for producing wonderful fruit. But it's only been within the last, 10, 15, 20 years that we've really emerged as a wine producing region. And really that has taken off with a lot of the winemakers coming in here to Lodi. We've gone from 8 to 80 wineries in the last 20 years, and it's just this phenomenal explosion of a lot of fun and exploration, both in the vineyards and the cellars, and then people that are coming here to visit. So again, this is part of the reason why we wanted to share with you a little bit of the diversity of what we have here in Lodi. I think some of the things that you'll find tonight as you looked through your wines, we have one fighting varietal. We have one bottle of Chardonnay. Otherwise, you know, we've got a Grenache Blanc, and we've got Kerner and Gewürztraminer, and we've got beautiful Verdelho. So you'll see that what we've got here in Lodi is not just a homogeneous sort of experience at all. You know, we are known for old vine Zinfandel and for Zins, but you know, there's varietals that cross all different corners of the world that are being grown extremely well here in Lodi. You know, we've got a question from Martin Redmond, who's asking what old vine white varieties are out there.
I'm sure that a lot of the Chardonnays are old wine. I think the traditional grapes in the white section, we find some old wine. So my best guess in the whites is definitely Chardonnay. I know our Chardonnay comes from the 1990s. And it's at this point, you know, it still produces nicely. The concentration is there, and it's a question: do you take half the vineyard out, replant, and try, you know, with new different things? But even the Chardonnay market is still a very, very interesting market, and still a lot of demand for Chardonnay here. It's also in a marketing direction that's a grape, you know, it's so known and so well known, and so therefore the demand will never go away.
No.
And so if you want to plant grapes and you want to be safe, you plant Camron Chardonnay these days.
Absolutely. Well, and I think that that's one of the things that a lot of people don't realize about Lodi too, is because we've been growing grapes for so long, and you may think that you've tasted Lodi fruit before, you probably have had more Lodi fruit than you ever really imagined. Because for a long time, our fruit has gone into California appellated products. We're the leading growers of Chardonnay and Cabernet, Merlot, Sauvignon Blanc, and Zinfandel in the state of California. So, you know, we really have been supplying all of the California wine industry for a lot of years with fantastic fruit. And so now it's fun to be able to have some wines and an increasing number of wines with Lodi on the label to really showcase some of our diversity and some of the products that are being grown here.
Yeah, see, nobody wants to admit that actually grapefruit is also grown out of land once in a
Right.
So,
right. We do send a lot of fruit to other parts of the state as well.
but we have the options here to make new things, try new things out. My boss, Steve Borra, he said, whatever you touch, go ahead.
Sure.
You're responsible for selling it at the end of the day anyways. So I can try it out, and I think I don't get it on other regions that way, that I get the full trust of just really exploring.
Sure.
And you can do a lot of things here. That's one of the key points why Lodi is coming up here quite a bit.
Absolutely. There's a question that I want to make sure that we get to from Ben. And forgive me, Ben, because I'm not certain how to pronounce that varietal.
Chasselas. Not that I'm aware of. The Chasselas grapes are planted here. A lot of these older growers, they take some stuff in the suitcase with them, and you never know what's out there, because they never admit it, of course, until a nursery brings them up at the end of the day. Chasselas, it's, you know, I put it almost as in the same bucket than the Kerner grape I'm having in here. It's a tough one. It's very well known in the Swiss market, in the, you know, well, that's probably the only market where it's out there, maybe a little bit Germany. But also as a Kerner, if you don't know the grape, it's fairly hard to sell.
Right.
And you can grow the best grapes in the world. If you can't sell it at the end of the day, it's not worth it.
It is business.
That's
it's
right.
fun and it's beautiful to make and share wine, but it's business.
That's right.
So, Meg, you had asked a question about the tasting order tonight, and we're going to start with the Acquiesce, and then move over to the Upstream Chardonnay, then over to the Borra Intuition, and finish out with the St. George Verdelho. So,
I see one question here real quick. Chasselas, why we don't see the varietal here, I think we just touched it briefly, really, that Virginia, I think it's tough to sell that varietal over here. It's also, you know, you can have it, I don't know, it's a climate, it's the same. Switzerland is much cooler,
sure.
Has much more rain. Here we are fairly dry and warm. So I would see that I'm sure I can plant it, I'm sure it will come, and it will produce grapes, but do I really get a touch of what Chasselas really tastes like? I'm not quite sure. So it's a tough one.
Sure. Well, and I think that actually speaks to kind of some of the diversity of our region as well. You were mentioning that we can do a number of different things, which is fantastic. For folks who may not be really truly familiar with where Lodi is, let me paint you a little picture real quick. We sit about 90 miles directly east of San Francisco, actually in directly beyond the only gap in the Coast Mountain Range in California. And so we really are coastal California in a lot of ways. The San Joaquin Delta opens up right into the Lodi grape growing region. And we get these beautiful delta breezes that flow off the Pacific Ocean through the Golden Gate and kind of into the delta and span out through the Lodi grape growing region. And that's important for a number of reasons, because we get that beautiful warm weather in the growing season that allows the grapes to really develop and ripen the sugars and get to the ripeness that we need them to get to. But at night, those delta breezes cool us down by anywhere between 35 and 40 degrees. And actually, that cooling off allows us to develop those acidities and that brightness that we really enjoy in our wines. So those things paired together, that nice warm weather like we all like to have in the summertime when we're out and we're active and playing around, yet at night we want to chill out and cool off a little bit with a great glass of Lodi wine. No plug intended, but you know, it really does have that kind of nice balancing effect and allows us to make some beautiful wines.
Yeah, we have Viognier growing on the McCollum River, and we have a tremendously 45 degrees difference almost every day,
Sure.
Day and night, and so it really gives us the perfect condition to grow these white varietals.
Absolutely.
So we're not as hot anymore as everybody thinks.
Well, and that's where I think it's interesting. I mean, we have this perception that people think of Lodi and think of us as being really hot, but they don't take into consideration that temperature differential that we get from days to evenings, and because we are different from a lot of interior California, and in a lot of ways we're not much different than other world-class wine producing regions in California that also get very warm days, and in some instances don't get those breezes that cool them off like we do.
Yeah, you can go 20 minutes north of here and it's much warmer than right here.
It absolutely is. I live 20 minutes north of
So,
here, and it's much more.
That's your disadvantage.
It is. It's absolutely my disadvantage, but that's why I love coming down here and sharing these wines with folks every day. So why don't we go ahead and start tasting a little bit of wine? Sound like a plan?
Let's do that.
Alrighty. We're going to start with the Acquiesce Belle Blanc. It's the 2012.
Cameron, how many AVAs in Lodi?
We have the overall Lodi AVA, which was founded back in the 80s. But then we have 7 sub-appellations, which really speaks to the diversity of our region as well. We've got a number of different soil types. We've got a number of different climatic zones, and we really have a lot of diversity that people may not really realize because they think of California and they think of the beaches and the coast. When you're outside of California, they think of the beaches and the coast, and then they think of the mountains. And they think of everything in the middle as being the same, but we're really quite different. We're really developed, our soils are developed by alluvial washout from the Sierra Nevada mountains as they come out towards the delta and the coast. So you have everything from rocky granitic soils all the way out to sandy loams and a broad range in between. We're bisected by a number of rivers and water bodies in the area, so that has an influence both cooling and in where they've deposited soil types. So we've got a lot of diversity here in Lodi, and so our AVA is everything from the McCollum River and the Jayhant and Clements Hills to Borden Ranch and Slough House. Those all really showcase some of the broad diversity that we've got in this region, and it's fantastic.
See, that was a 5-minute version of my question. It's great that he answers this stuff. I
have to
I will
admit,
know about it, but probably not that much in details. But that's your job, right?
well, and I'm a recovering lobbyist, and so I used to lobby for the California wine industry, and so
politics.
I've learned to filibuster and to beat things to death. So this is much more fun to be able to talk about wine.
Good, I'm glad we're same page. Okay.
So you've had a chance to chat with Sue Tipton, who is the owner and winemaker of Acquiesce, and she's our only all-white winery here in Lodi, which is kind of fun and unique, and she's doing some fun things.
Yes, and I think this is one of the plus points here is that everybody has a story, and we try to really bring that story across. She is trying to bring her story across with that bottle of wine. I want to do mine here. Frank wants to do it in the Watts in Chardonnay or in Vern in St. George. And I think you see on every wine a fingerprint of us, and I can close my eyes, I can drink that wine, and I know exactly where I am. I mean, even back in Germany, where how it grows in terrace and hills and all this stuff. So it's really a message we want to bring across. And she did it quite nicely. She does only whites. That's correct. She's very, very small. She was for a long time home winemaker. She was bought a little property out there on Peltier Road, right? And started actually with red. And then she went to a wine store and saw some Chateau Neuf du Pape white, which are fairly hard to get over here, at least the good ones. And she fell in love, and she wouldn't know what that's about, right? But she started in Googling and research mode, and she got pushed over to Passeroble region, where she was looking at what's going on with Grenache Blanc. That's a very common Chateau Neuf du Pape in the white section. Sure. And so she reached out to them and actually got some butler from the Tapas Creek winery. Mm-hmm. And they started planting here, half an acre here, half an acre there, and started to try them out as a home winemaker, thinking of just make enough for myself. Right. And suddenly it turns into something much bigger, into something much more. You know, she can tell something. She is different than anybody else. She tells her story, and she's a very food-driven person. Absolutely. And it's not like eats a lot. No, she wants to experiment. She loves to really, this she wants to do actually with pork, Johnson. Mm-hmm. And so the experiment, no stopping way going on here. Winemaking style, she told me it's all stainless steel. Right. So she doesn't like the oak factor. I don't know, maybe she will get along with that one day. But it keeps the freshness, keeps the acidity high, and it just makes it so alive. I think it's very aromatic. You get it there. It's amazing. You know, you put that in a paper bag. Well, if that bottle fits in a paper bag. But you can put that in a paper bag, and you will never, ever guess the region where that's coming from. Absolutely not. And I think that's one of the beautiful things. Sue, like you were saying, really wants to develop the flavors from the fruit. This is Grenache Blanc and Roussane and Viognier, and it's a beautiful blend that really showcases, I think, the fruit nicely and shows the depth of kind of the melon and the pear and those aromatics that you're getting off of this, that gives it a lot of diversity. I mean, like you said, pairing it with pork would be fantastic. You know, I can also see a real rich, kind of arugulous, almost a peppery, spicy salad of some sense that this would go nicely with. I just think that this is a beautiful wine that really shows Sue's touch and finesse, like you were saying. Her thumbprint is in there, and if you ever have the opportunity to meet Sue, she's a very calm, elegant woman, and the wine, I think, really showcases her personality as well in a lot of ways. I totally agree. I mean, she had the Grenache Blanc. There is not much planted in the United States. I think there are 300 some plus acres here, and she produces only a few hundred cases, and they're sold out in a heartbeat. I think that speaks for her quality. Some people buying wine because of the bottle. It's a pain to put in any wine fridge, but it works as it's an attraction. Some people really buy wine for the label or for the bottle itself. Absolutely. And I think it's very clever to go out that way if you have to introduce Grenache Blanc to a clientele which maybe are not too familiar with that varietal. Right. Roussane even harder. Viognier. Yeah, it has some recognition. That's right. In the market. We have had some issues. I think Syrah was very, let's call it all the Rhone varietals here were very big in the 2000, 2001, right. 2, 3, 4. And then there comes a sudden shift where the drawback is Viognier lost a little bit on his touch. Also, the Syrah has a hard time to keep going on because Malbec is pushing in. So there's a lot of market trends coming along, and we really try to, we make sure these grapes are not forgotten. These are fantastic Viogniers, Roussanes have a lot of characteristics going on. Sure, no, and that's where it's fun because it's harkening back to some things that we've been doing here in Lodi for a while, but also then bringing the consumer back with it and providing the consumers a broad diversity and experience. I mean, I like to tell people that
that when they come to Lodi, they're not coming just for Zin, or you may go to other regions just for Chardonnay, or just for Cabernet, or just for a given varietal. I really like to say that when you come to Lodi and when you taste Lodi wines, there's absolutely something for everybody. And I think that the diversity and the breadth that we have in our production is really speaks to that. You were mentioning the bottle type too, as I was thinking with Sue wanting and making these beautiful wines for food. This is a very elegant bottle to sit at the table, and I would be pleased to share any of my Lodi Wineries wines with folks. But I could definitely see this being on a very elegant dinner table.
Yes.
And really speaking to folks nicely.
If you come on in the blend, I saw a question up there before about the blend does need to have more Grenache, more Viognier, more Roussane. I think there's different angles to look at these things. One is first what do you have available actually.
Right.
Second, I think, but that's more important, is really what does she want to express?
Sure.
What is her passion? Her passion is the Grenache Blanc, where she thinks there's the future. It's what she wants to express. Viognier is very dominant. Roussane has a nice mouthfeel.
Mm-hmm.
It's up a little bit the acidity, but I think the focal point has to be Grenache. I think it's up to her if she wants to put more Grenache in or not.
Sure.
But I think this blend was very well made for, again, you would never believe the price, but also where it comes from.
Right, and that you speak to the price, and that is, one of the true beauties of this region is you can get phenomenal world-class wines at a price that is going to be completely friendly for everybody. This is a $24 bottle of wine, and I think you could, this is a steal at $24. It's such a beautiful wine.
And also have to get the production a little bit, in the picture of, this is 150, 200 cases.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very, very small production. So if she would make 250,000 cases of it, well, $24 probably sounds a lot, but for 200 cases, this is a steal.
This is absolutely a steal. So definitely, if you're looking for some acquiesce, this is available through the winery. And I would say definitely try to get on it as quickly as possible, because like Markus mentioned, Sue makes such great wines that they disappear quickly. She has some other beautiful wines as well. Again, all white. She does have a rosé that's very nice, but she makes some fun things like Pit Pool and some others that are just beautiful. So I would definitely hope that you all enjoy this wine as much as we do.
All wines are in this bottle, so very unique, so you don't have to sacrifice on that side. And also, she's usually sold out by November.
Yep.
So you better hurry.
Hopefully you all enjoyed that wine as well. So, and we're watching the Twitter feed as we go along. So if you have questions, please feel free to let us know. We'd be more than happy to answer them.
I totally agree. The stone fruit, the honeysuckle, I see comments up there, melon, Asian pear. Yes, some very strong characteristics from the Grenache Blanc, but also the Viognier. It's a very delicate, elegant grape, which is really powerful. So if you put too much in, it overpowers. So I think she has a very nice balance in the wine.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. So the next one up that we have is the Watts Winery Upstream 2012 Chardonnay. This is a fun wine. The Watts family has been growing grapes here in Lodi for generations, which is not uncommon for Lodi growers. As I mentioned earlier, we have been growing grapes here for the better part of 150 years. And so that means many of our grape growers are multi-generation, 5-6 generations. And the Watts family is no different from that. Multiple generations growing grapes. The Watts winery has been open now for a number of years, bottled under the Watts label. The Upstream label here is a newer one. So this is kind of a fun way to showcase another varietal. Frank Lambert is the winemaker here and has been doing some fun things. They, under this label, not only do they do the Chardonnay, but they do a beautiful Malbec as well. And so I think this is a fun wine. So.
Yeah, Craig, he's not new in the business in the industry. He has a very good reputation when it comes to the farming side. And he's crazy, and we all know that. And I think we all here are crazy. But that's exactly the point. So he plants grapes on locations you wouldn't think of.
Right.
You know, this is at sea level, this vineyard, or almost at sea level.
Right.
And really out as far west as you can go. I think it's absolutely interesting to see that yeah, somebody can actually pluck some grapes into the ground and it works. His farming styles are actually very well received and recognized. But I don't know, his wines were, I could never tell the story, and so he went to Frank and said, Frank, can you take this home? Can you bring it home? Can you express what I want to show here? And I think Frank did, and it's French, and this guy is smart. So he has a lot of experience, different wineries before, and he finally got the go-ahead and the pull. So let's go ahead and pull this. This is completely Burgundy style, so this is not the Rombauer you're looking at. This is really something completely different. You turn it around, you have the apple and the pear, and you don't have the pineapple and the mango.
Right.
So it's a pure expression, almost cool climate,
Almost.
high acidity, very fresh.
Absolutely, and like you were saying, and Megan, to your question, this freshness, this is all stainless steel, so you're not getting any oak off of this, and so you're getting a different, like you said, the Burgundian style of Chardonnay, a different white. You know, this is, I think there's an interesting trend going on in winemaking where people are playing around with a lot of unoaked Chardonnays now, and I personally, when it's nice and warm, I love an unoaked Chardonnay. I think it's a nice alternative to, like you were saying, that big, buttery, oaky Chardonnay that's out there. Because when it's this hot, I want something crisp and fresh, and Chardonnay does that nicely.
It does, but it also, I think the more oak you put in, I think the more heavier it gets in the mouthfeel and the taste and the complexity. This is much alive. This is fresh. This screams, hey, drink me at the pool.
Right.
You know, take me somewhere out in the garden or for a picnic. Really nice up there. Light. You see more and more out of Lodi. Hey, hot climate, as everybody thinks, right? We're not.
Right.
It's low alcohol. It's 12.5% alcohol. So really, it's not burning. It's the freshness right in here.
It is, and you're getting that. And you're getting that honey and the citrus and all of those things that are that crisp and that bright mouthfeel. And I just, you know, like you said, by the pool, sitting around in the backyard, I wouldn't go as far as calling it hot tub wine, but I wouldn't mind sitting out in the hot tub or the jacuzzi and having a glass of this.
Well, 12.5% reaches you fairly fast when you're in the hot tub.
This is true.
But you know, you can even talk a little bit about the clone. The clone 17 he used it's a very, very small bunch clone, and so therefore you get a lot of complexity and concentration in the fruit you pick, and the extractions are really, really there. And so you know, when you invited me for fun whites like Chardonnay, really, but you know, there's much more to it. I see that we have picked 155,000 tons last year of Chardonnay. This is much more than anywhere else for all these different regions. But there's Chardonnay and there's Chardonnay. So there's so many ways of expressing that beautiful flavor. Even if you are not a Chardonnay fan, I think this is something you can really start to love.
I agree with you, you know, and I'm going to throw my wife under the bus here because she sometimes is one that's like, she's not a big fan of the buttery Chardonnays at all, those oaky Chardonnays. And this is, like I was saying, this is a varietal that is so versatile, and from what you want to do from completely unoaked all the way through a big oaky, and it changes every step along the way. And I think this is just a great way to showcase the fruit. Like you were saying, we are the leading producer in the state of California for Chardonnay, so we must be doing something right here in Lodi. If everybody, comes and sources some of their California appellated Chardonnay here in Lodi.
Yes, I agree. And again, you know, I know a lot of people who are not. The first pick is not a Chardonnay, but it's fun to introduce to them the new styles of Chardonnay. I think we see more and more. We come back. We pull back on alcohol. We really show the acidity, freshness, being alive. And again, I think Craig did a great, fantastic job in growing these grapes.
Right.
But it needed a personality, another personality. Craig is a great personality, but Frank to take it home and really put that fingerprint on that bottle.
Sure.
And I think that it's also, going to marketing design, it's a different design, it's a different label, it's fresh, it's alive, it's new, it tells exactly where they want to go upstream. And I think they did a terrific job.
I agree. And you know, this is, I think there was a question about what does the Class 4 Rapids mean? I'm not 100% certain, but I'm going to take a guess on a couple of things here. One, the going kind of against the grain, going upstream is sort of the theme, like you were saying, of the wine and trying out different styles in winemaking, going against the general flow of things, and really kind of taking it to a different place. And I think that's where this outdoor fanatic, Craig Watts, really kind of loves doing things. And so that would be my guess, is that Class 4 talks about the fact that he loves the outdoors, loves the rapids, and then upstream really is taking it to a new place and going up against the grain. I could be wrong.
No, totally right. I mean, choosing the right label, it's a tough decision. It's really, it's a hard one to follow through. You have a voice in the tasting room. You can explain your vision. You can explain your thoughts behind. But if you don't have that voice, the label itself has to speak for it. It has to showcase what is this about,
Right.
And you know, you have to over deliver actually to be successful. So because there's too many labels out there, and so the label really has to pop. And I think they did a great job. Very simple, very straightforward. And the wine delivers completely.
Yep, I agree. So we have a question from Martin Redmond about how does Chardonnay harvest look in Lodi this year? You were in the vineyards earlier. What do you think?
So we are about 2 to 3 weeks early. We have had a fairly dry spring. We had a warm spring. Therefore, that's why we are ahead. We had a very mild summer.
Mm-hmm.
So very nice actually. Showcase that the acidity and sugar levels are coming along next to each other. It's not that brutal heat, so therefore the sugar goes through the roof.
Right.
So it's a nice balancing act. Chardonnay programs have already picked. They want their 18, 19 breaks, high tart acidity. And so therefore we are just about ready. We're looking at 23, 24 breaks to going, but it's very, very promising. It's not as big as a crop as last year. But it is very promising. The growing year itself was really good for the Chardonnay grape. So I think you can see some very nice 2013 Chardonnays coming out.
You know, I'm hearing a lot of that same sort of thing. People are saying that stuff that's coming off the vines right now is looking really, really good. So the quality is nice, but not as big as last year.
Well, yes. Well, we have to understand 2010, 2011 were tricky years. Low yields, and so therefore the grower side says, well, I need everything I can get because I need to make up for my losses I had. The winery says, no, not everything is the best. It's selected and really cut it back. And this, I think, is what it shows, is how the 13 Chardonnays are coming. There is some fruit dropped, so it equals out again, and it's for both parties. It's right. Yep. So I'm happy what's out there. I can't wait to pick the Chardonnay next week.
Yeah, no, it'll be fun. Do you know of anybody doing sparkling Chardonnays?
Well,
we have some sparkling wine producers in the region, but I don't know about sparkling Chardonnay.
They usually go out. We have contracts with wineries going out of state.
Okay,
so they use it for their Chardonnay program out of state.
Sure, makes sense. So, well, in the interest of time, why don't we try moving on to your wine, because this is a fun wine. What is your favorite white grape to work with in the Lodi climate? Markus, that's a question for you. What is your favorite as a winemaker, your favorite white wine grape to work with in this climate?
I think I haven't experienced all the white grapes yet. This is German varietals are very fun because it's very unexpected. It's very unheard for climate and styling. There is many more out there, but I'm always up for something new. So I will play around a little with Gewürztraminer this year, see where it's going on a standalone wine. Even again, our climate is changing. We get the cool nights, the warm days. So I am ready to pick Gewürz next week as well. So this will be my angle right now. I'm very happy with this, but also I really like also soon wine number 1 because it revolves a little bit. The French grapes, the Rhone varietals also coming back. I don't want to lose touch with what we actually started with. We have we grow 10 acres of Viognier, and I don't want to lose that touch. But so I'm going 2 roads right now,
Okay.
but it's very interesting.
Sure. So you can go French or German, and
That's
you like
right.
working with both in the whites here.
Oh, they're completely different.
They are.
And wines are different, flavors are different, and different approaches. But everything, I think every grape varietal can put something on the table and can make it taste different as long as you let the grapes speak for themselves.
Sure.
So don't force them in a direction. Don't force. Let it pour a glass and see what that glass does to you, does to your food wine pairing. Don't force it. Just really let it happen and see where it gets you.
Well, as a recovering lobbyist, like I said earlier, that was a very politically correct answer. No, you know, it's all good, and I think you're right, and I think that's the fun part about wine, that folks who are coming as consumers are coming into wine, or people who even have been around wine for a long time, begin to realize that there's so many different varietals out there, and there's so many different grapes that can be blended into different wines, that it's fun, because it's always an exploration, and wine is always experimentation, and you're going to find something new with each vintage and be able to play and try something different. So I think I would, if I was a winemaker, which I'm not a good one, my Petit Syrah that I've made is extremely rough, but it makes great sangria. I think I would be like you. I'd want to kind of play around with a lot of different things.
I think in the marketing side, you have 2 avenues to go through. You have to secure your income you have to have Zinfandel, you have to have a Merlot, you have to have a Cab, a Chardonnay for your customer if they ask for it. But you cannot stop thinking outside that box. You
Right.
cannot. The world is turning too much. There's too much competition out there. Everybody else has these crazy ideas, so
Right.
it's up to you. You want to jump on that wagon or not? And think out of the box here. Kerner, are you kidding? Riesling, Gewürztraminer in this climate?
Right.
Really? Yes, it works. Barrels on German grapes, not seen before. Well, look at all the layers the barrel actually does to it, and I think it's just completely outside the box, completely new, completely different. And the wine bars and the restaurants, this is a wine you should go for.
Absolutely. So I would love for you to tell us a little bit about this. Megan asked the question, Kerner's is a fairly unusual grape in the U.S. If I'm not mistaken, we have some of the only Kerner in the country here in Lodi, correct?
I know there is 7 or 8 tons grown in California. I'm not sure what the East Coast is doing,
Okay.
but at least on the West Coast, and I picked 6.6 tons from it.
Okay.
So at least commercially, I'm the only one of these days. The grapes are coming from the Koch family. Very, very nice family. Had their roots here for a long, long time, and he has so many different German varietals. He is one of these really, really outside the box person who really goes out and has 6 wines here, 6 wines there, just to try out what it does.
Sure.
And he had his wines out, and he didn't work. They're getting to a point where he said, "That's it."
Right.
I said, "Well, let me try Kerner. Let me try to bring something new out. I know what to do. It's back in Switzerland. We have Kerner to the end of the day."
Okay.
I have a good friend of mine. He's in Zurich, and he does a blend similar to this. And I asked him, "Say, can we talk about the concept?" And I want to see what is different between here and there. And of course, our fruit is pushing much more forward. Whereas over there, it's more higher in acidity.
Sure.
But we have that upfront fruit, and I think wow,
Yeah.
great. I
That's
mean, I
beautiful.
love it.
So now you do this as a field blend. So
Yes.
this is just so we make sure that we get everybody. We're on to the Borra Vineyards 2012 intuition. So this is just recently bottled,
That's right, June.
and so it is Kerner, Riesling, and Gewürztraminer. So 60, 20, and 20. And you do it as a field blend.
Well, here's field blend. I have field blend red, I have field blend white. In
Okay.
the field blend red, you put the grapes all together, you crush them together, and then you concentrate them, you drain a little juice out to get really the concentration of the flavor. Here, I press separate,
Okay.
and then I combine the juice.
Got it.
So because Kerner is not at the same time ready as Gewürztraminer, so I need that 10 days in between. If it's really awkward, I have to really far between. I will ferment them separate, and then after it's almost finished, right, I will add them together.
Got it.
So it really depends on what the field is telling me when to pick.
Well, that's one of the challenges that so many people forget about in wine so often, is that a lot of times you're beholden to Mother Nature as well. And when the fruit is ripe, the fruit is ripe, and you can't necessarily rush it.
Yeah, I think it's one of the most important decisions you make these days is when is the fruit ripe? For what program is it in? And that's what you're looking for.
Right.
Blending white wines at a very early stage is a very crucial part because acidities are high. Fruit is kind of after fermentation quite awkward.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore to make the right decision, it's pretty tough. And I usually rely on last year's results and looking at the blend from last year and see how well it sold. See the quality of all these three varietals again this year.
Sure.
And then based on that, I make the decision what to blend together.
Right. I love this. I mean, this is such a fun and a different blend in so many ways. I mean, you get the fruit and you get the ripeness and some of that almost citrusy, but then that Kerner has a minerality to it that you get kind of mid to back palate that I absolutely love. That's different from a lot of wines.
That's right. Kerner is if I have a standalone Kerner, which I have Kerner and Riesling together, but again, I added that 15% Riesling in another wine to get that fruit forward. The Kerner is for me the body. The Kerner is for me the minerality. It's for me just a structure. I have the Gewürztraminer, which adds the spice, and then the Riesling, which has the floral aspect pushing out here. The oaks are giving all the layers in the wine.
That's beautiful. So now tell me about the oak, because we've gone from unoaked here. You're not heavy on the oak in this at all, but it provides some structure. Right?
Well, I'm above normal on oak.
Okay.
I have once filled barrels, 50% French, 50% American.
Okay.
So they have a fairly decent amount, but I don't keep it on too long. So it's 9 months. It will be bottled. I can go a little bit less on oak. But I think that oak has a very, very crucial part in the wine, and it's different. So that's really what I want to bring out. It's different. It doesn't. I don't want to copy paste anybody. I know nobody else is doing this kind of wine here. I think it's fun, and I think that's what we're here for.
It's fun and it's different. I absolutely think this is different, and it's different than what anybody else that I've tasted is doing. In fact, I took this wine to a conference with me just 2 weeks or so ago that had a number of master sommeliers and wine educators from throughout the country and even some international folks at it. And I tasted this on the blind. I said, tell me what this is. You know it's from Lodi. You know what we're known for because of the level of understanding that these folks have. Taste it and tell me what you think. And each and every time they were stumped on it. And I think it's because who would think German varietals in Lodi, California? And then who would think of the blend and Kerner? I mean, I don't think it even enters the thought process. And so, again, this goes back to and harkens back to what I was saying earlier. We can grow a world of wine here in our little region. I mean, German, French, Iberian, Spanish. We have Pinotage growing here. We have, it's just we can grow anything, and it's so much fun to be able to show that to people.
It's the story needs to be told, and that's really winemaking is fun. It's great. Everybody thinks I have a great job, but
right.
on the B side, it's really tell everybody who gives this a try. If you don't know what Kerner is, if you haven't heard of it, why would you choose it?
Exactly.
Why would you pick it and try it out? And as soon as you touch the bottle and you try that wine, I think you get a grip of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's our job really to get this out, that there is all these unusual, not Chardonnay, Merlot Cab varietals. They're fun, they're exciting,
Right.
and it makes a very good dinner conversation if you have that in the bag and nobody knows what it is. Believe me, that's going on.
And nobody knew what it was, and that was fun
Put
because
$100 on it.
Yep.
It's not gonna
and I stood there and it made me smile every time so thank you. I mean, it was really fun for me to stump the master sommeliers. So you're right. Cliff made a comment up there earlier. Would never guess that this was from Lodi, and again, it shows the diversity. So
food pairing real quick. I saw that question coming up several times. The food pairing, again, with the oak, you have the fruit forward, which goes very well with, of course, seafood salad, anything on lighter or spicy side. But there's no problem going a little bit heavier in food,
right.
even heartier dishes, because the oak will really gives you the balance. It should really create the power of the same equally of the food and wine, even in a much darker meat. or doing darker sauce.
Yeah, really bring it out. You know, Kovas, you mentioned that there's some Kerner also grown in Michigan. Thank you for that. I think it's fun to know where else people are playing and experimenting with varietals like this.
It will be interesting to see how much, how their sales approach is, how they can sell that varietal. It usually really survives or dies based on can you sell the product, yes or no.
Absolutely.
And that's why Camron is here to sell it.
You know, I have a fun job, though.
All right,
I don't
so
mind
here we
doing it. You know,
No politics.
No politics. No politics. I'm recovering. But, you know, when you, folks like yourself, give me fantastic varietals to go out there and to share with the world, and to dispel the generalizations that have been out there for so long about Lodi, it makes it fun and exciting and easy for me because, you know, the misconceptions about what Lodi is and what Lodi has been are all exactly that. They're misconceptions, and it just means that we have the opportunity to share things with people, to show them what we can do and what the quality is that's coming out of Lodi, and that we make wines for everybody to be proud of on their dinner table with family and friends and to share every night of the week. I mean, I think this is a beautiful, fun wine, and you have it priced at $22. I mean, that is a fantastic price for such a unique and fun and beautiful wine.
Yeah, I made 200 cases of it, fairly limited, but my goal again is to be out of it by as soon as it cools down.
Sure.
And I will. That's my job, and I will be out.
Well, I better hurry and get over and get some.
That's right.
So I better pick up all of these actually.
Good.
You know, that is one of the tough parts about working with all of these fantastic wineries is that, you know, we have to make the sacrifice sometimes to make sure we know what's going on in Lodi and try some beautiful, beautiful wines every day. So, well, why don't we unfortunately leave this one and go on over to the Iberian Peninsula.
Right.
Again, we've taken you from France through Chardonnay and the Burgundian style, so a couple of French, over into Germany, and I think we'll round out the evening on the Iberian Peninsula by trying a Verdelho. This is the 2011 St. George Winery Verdelho Secco from here in Lodi. This is a little bit bigger, a little different style for you, but you know, I think one of the things that we're finding, and we've shared this with a lot of folks in the past, is that Lodi has a lot of similarities to Spain and Portugal in climate and actually I would argue in culture as well. We're a much more low-key, kind of down-to-earth society that enjoys food and wine and wants to share that culture and our people with people and our people with other people. And so, you know, our climate, we get those warm days, like we were saying, those cool ocean breezes that come through, and so where we sit is very comparable in latitude to the Iberian Peninsula, and we're finding that a lot of Spanish and Portuguese varietals are doing fantastic here. Vern Vieira and his wife Janice, who own St. George, are doing a lot of different Portuguese varietals, and they're doing some fun and very, very different things. And so this Verdelho obviously has quite a bit of oak to it. You can get some of the vanilla and stuff off the palate. This is going to be a bigger wine, but I think you're going to find that this is some fun diversity in what we can do here as well.
Yeah, I really urge everybody, think outside that box. It is again another fingerprint, another destination, another story he wants to tell, and it's very unique. It's a big wine. It's a very, very big wine, and you see at 14.8 alcohol. I think the oak is needed to support it, but that's not flat. That's life. There's a lot of things going on in here, and it doesn't. The middle palate is here. The finishing is here. Mm-hmm. So I think this is again something very, very different, and I think that's what we're all about.
It's fun, and it really coats the mouth, and it gives you that kind of. You get the bursts of acidity, but yet you get the structure from the oak, and you get the fruit in there. You're right. There's a lot going on in this glass of wine. The grapes for this come from Ron Silva and the Silva Spoons vineyard, and Ron is really doing some fun and unique things out there. He's really experimenting with a lot of different varietals. He is really focused in on a lot of Portuguese varietals. Grows his grapes sustainably, so doing some fun things there. So for folks who are interested, we have our sustainable growing certification program here in Lodi called Lodi Rules, and have been the leaders in the California wine industry and in sustainability here in our region. And Ron's doing some fun things with the grapes, and then Vern has taken it into the winery. Vern and Janice have created a beautiful destination out at St. George with the tasting room. It's kind of a beautiful villa setting that you walk in and you feel like you're in Portugal. I mean, it's a destination.
It's interesting. Ron always calls me and says, "Markus, I have some unique Portuguese grapes. You want some?" And I say, "Well, I don't have too much to do with Portugal, so I have a hard time to tell the story about it."
Right.
And even in the tasting room, I get a lot of, "Are you Portuguese?" And I don't quite understand that one, but more than once I heard that before. But I think what I'm trying to say is that Vern, that's his part. That's his part to take it over and really makes the best out of it. He has his heart and his passion in it, and he can tell you what what his story is with this wine. And I think he does a great job with it. And again, it's just something else. It's something else. You don't find it everywhere. You really find it only on certain locations, certain places. And I think that makes it so unique. It's not the 200,000 case production.
It's not. It's that small lot boutique personal production, that personal fingerprint, that very intimate experience that you're going to get here. So when you come and when people visit our tasting rooms in our region, it is very personal. It's very authentic and real. I mean, you're going to see someone like Markus in the tasting room who's been out blending and making the wines, and then come on in to the tasting room. So.
I see alcohol comments. I think 14.8 alcohol. Yes, I agree. It's on the higher side. But I think the wine is made solid, and so therefore it can carry the 14.8 alcohol percentage. White wines need, of course, they should be consumed chilled. So therefore, the alcohol how it feels in the mouth, right? It will go down a little bit. But don't be afraid of higher alcohol wine. As long as it carries along with the body and the fruit, there is no problem why not having 14.8 alcohol. It's a lot of misconception of, okay, white wine needs to have 12 and red wine needs to be 14 or 15. That's just a box.
Right.
As long as the product is made solid, it counts out of it.
Absolutely. And I think, for me, I often don't look at the alcohol content on wine unless it automatically just hits you and it burns. Then I look at the bottle and I'm like, good gracious, what is this? But a well-balanced, well-structured wine, I think, absolutely, even if it is a higher alcohol and it's white, there's nothing wrong with that. And I think this does. This would pair really nicely. I could go with so many different directions with this wine. I mean, I could go, a hearty kind of chicken or pasta dish that has a real rich sauce to it, or that has a real spiciness to it. I mean, it could go any different direction, I think.
Just a little bit careful, that one can put you to bed. So that's pretty heavy. That's really going strong. Has a lot to say, but it is on the heavier side.
Agreed.
So a pool wine, probably not. More serious, more food, but also sip with cheese, etc. That works perfectly fine. But be careful in the water on this one.
Agreed. Well, and maybe it isn't a pool, but this is. I have an argument in life that I try to live by, that God gave me two things other than my family and things, but give me coffee to take me up in the morning and wine to take me back down at night. And I would love to end my day with a glass of great Verdelho.
So, but again, the Verdelho, not heard that much out there. It's not that Chardonnay, not that Symphony Blanc. Again, it's something else. So my encouragement tonight is try something you've never tasted before. Give a bottle a chance you would never touch otherwise.
Right.
And you will be surprised what's out there.
Absolutely. And so I think over the course of the last almost hour, we've really kind of taken you in a number of different directions. We've showed you bright and crispness. We've shown you complexity and diversity. We've shown you what Chardonnay is like without oak in it, the Grenache Roussane Viognier blend. We've taken you to Germany, which has been I think, a real blast, and then finished you up in Portugal, which is a lot of fun as well. And so we've really taken you around different parts of Europe, and really, I hope, shown you that there is a richness and a diversity in white wines here in Lodi, that in a region that's often characterized as red wine country, but that we really have an opportunity to do a lot of different kinds of things here in our vineyards and cellars. And this just scratches the surface. I mean, we've got beautiful rosés and other white varietals that are being done here from Vermentinos and Sauvignon Blancs and others that I think are a lot of fun and showing very, very nicely. So any parting thoughts for you?
Well, it's the time to come out.
Right.
The next 2 weeks you find some whites in the tank. I'm more than happy to taste with you these wines. Very interesting parts when you go through fermentation, how the sweetness goes away, how actually alcohol pops up. Not everybody get that experience, but I think that's one of the plus points we have here, is that we can take you behind the scenes. Sure. And we can actually explain what's the process going on. And fun and interesting taste wines is just a few months old.
Absolutely, and then see when they go to market how they change.
They are,
because they're totally different. And I think that's the fun part about wine, is it's an ever evolving, ever changing sort of experience. So Markus did mention this is a great time. I know that you folks are scattered all over the country, but if at any time you would be interested in coming out and visiting us, we'd like to extend a very warm invitation to you all. We'd love to have you come and visit us here in Lodi. We'd love to share our experience and our region and our wines with you. So please feel free to come at any point in time. We also, for anybody who may be close, have a really fantastic program coming up here in September. September is annually California Wine Month, and we are developing a month-long kind of passport program for folks to come and experience different events and activities that are taking place in our wineries and in our vineyards throughout the month of September. So we would love to extend the invitation again, specifically in September, but anytime, because we are very passionate about what we do here in our region, and our people are fantastic. And I know in the time that I've been here in Lodi, I'm very, very proud of what's going on, and love to share that with the world. So
I think even Lodi as a destination has a lot to show.
Absolutely.
Beautiful downtown now, a lot of new shops, a lot of new things. As you know, upstream, we're swimming upstream, we're getting newer, we really renew things, and it's almost, it's really there that you can come here and you can spend a day, you can spend the night even here, and there's not a dead minute in there. So really, come along and explore.
Absolutely. So, we'd be happy to answer any final questions, but definitely look forward to talking with you all again soon. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we look forward to having you join us on future tastings and hopefully seeing you here in Lodi soon. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you. Appreciate it.